One of the greatest strengths of the current media system in Hong Kong is the mass circulation of newspapers, which effectively disseminate information at grassroots level and reach out to the general public. Firstly, newspapers are made affordable to everyone irrespective of economic ability. While most papers are sold at the cover price of $7, there are many free newspapers widely distributed. Citizens are able to obtain a wide coverage of information at low or even no cost. Newspapers are also made intelligible to different language users. Instead of limiting readership to those who are literate in Chinese, English language newspapers are also available in Hong Kong. Readership is further expanded by the equal accessibility of newspaper. Newspapers tend to address the mass public instead of targeting small elites or specific gender group. Government has a duty to monitor the operation of the media system while limiting the extent of its intervention to avoid infringement of press freedom. In Hong Kong, government intervention is limited and the media is left primarily to market forces. Without any media law, local media is governed by statutory bodies responsible for regulating licensing and monitoring broadcasting. Such media regulation is necessary for protecting public interest. Balance between rights and obligations is important to prevent the abuse of privilege of the media. Government plays a relatively inactive role in providing public service broadcasting. The only public service broadcaster is RTHK. Although its editorial independence has long been a public concern, its credibility has been highly recognized. It always produces programs that criticize the government, which also fully exemplifies its editorial independence. With RTHK as an example, it seems fair to conclude that there is not much government influence exerted to the content and operation of the press. Press freedom is indeed respected and preserved.
As an international hub that we have access as well as exposure to the outside world. Newspapers will report the news overseas regardless of the category. Hong Kong citizens can always be informed and updated about the various news irrespective of the geographical barriers. This helps seize boundaries of different countries. Hong Kong people can always be exposed to the various incidents that is happening worldwide and make attempts to respond to those news. For example, some of the people in Hong Kong added a French flag filter to their Facebook profile picture to show their support to France after the tragic Paris attacks.
Lacking neutrality is one of the greatest weaknesses found in Hong Kong's media industry. Strong political parallelism has long been a hindrance which blocks presses from being unbiased, since local press media usually takes an obvious political stance by supporting parties' interests or to attack potential competitors in a political feud. Examples of presses with political linkage include Wenhui Bao and Tai Kung Pao, which represent the Beijing leftists, since they're indirectly owned or controlled by the liaison office of the central government. Ming Pao is considered as liberal, while Passion Time represents the localists. Apple Daily possesses a strong bias to the pan-democrats, especially to the Democratic Party and the Civic Party. It is constantly condemned by the pro-Beijing leftists due to its anti-government stance and outrageous attack on the pro-establishment parties. The knife attack on Calvin Lau, Chen Payne, and Jimmy Lai displays the detrimental threat to editors and owners of presses as a result of lacking neutrality. Hong Kong media system are quite profit-oriented. Profit maximization heavily relies on advertising dollars and sponsorship. According to the class-dominant theory, media reflects and projects the feud of a minority elite as they exert great influence or even control corporations that are producing media with a selection of news that are favorable to their interests. Both printed newspaper industry and free-to-air broadcasting industry consist of heavy proportion of brand advertising and sponsorship, which aim to broaden the appeal to attract potential purchasing audience. News organizations may therefore avoid reporting negative stories or scandals that will possibly destroy the brand name of their corporate partners, especially parent corporations that finance large advertising campaigns in their newspaper or broadcasting stations. Corporations like Park and Shop, Nike, KFC spend millions of dollars on advertisement, and some even go the extra mile to embedded advertisement through product placement and brand integration on TV soap dramas. Even for previous overcharging and oilfish scandal of Park and Shop, only SCMP placed emphasis on reporting such scandals. Due to such profit-oriented nature, press editors tend to use exaggerating, biased, and misleading directions to dramatize the news to make it more appealing to readers, and thus to boost readership and sales.
There are only 3 free-to-air television licenses in Hong Kong. TVB has been established for the longest period of time and has the largest program production. It provides in total 5 free-to-air channels, which are the greatest in number among 3 of the companies. Having only 3 TV licenses leads to domination of TVB. The public has always been complaining the quality of TVB programs these years. They argue that there is no improvement due to the lack of competition. Since the other TV companies do not have the huge amount of capital and advertisers as TVB, they cannot come up with the large-scale production like serial drama. The limited choice of TV broadcasting company results in a less vibrant media industry. Even though there is law protecting one's privacy in Hong Kong, many journalists neglect the importance of privacy and invade celebrities or government officials' lives so as to obtain the most attractive news and gain more sales. Sometimes they even create fake news or scandals which contain defamation. Paparazzi will stalk those controversial people every day and take photos of them. These acts certainly destroy the professional image of journalists. They also offend the number 5 in the Code of Ethics by HKJA. They are reporting the news which is obtained not by straightforward means. Their credibility will be lower, and this will further affect the professionalization of Hong Kong journalists.
The trend of privacy actually shatters the professional image of journalists. Journalists should follow the Code of Ethics, which states that a journalist shall obtain information only by straightforward means. Paparazzi should first seek permission for interview, instead of merely capturing celebrities on street, or to avoid exposing graphics and information which contain celebrities or politicians' family members. Public interests and news factuality should be prioritized before the interests of sponsorship or political party. Journalists should strive to ensure that the information is fair and accurate. Avoid the expression of comment and conjecture as established fact and falsification by distortion, selection, or misinterpretation. Journalists should refrain from any form of exaggeration and biased selection of topics in order to restore credibility for a local press. Due to the class domination theory as mentioned, massive corporate merges with media organizations and run media as a form of business to possess the ability to manipulate what kind of news readers can see. The overwhelming trend of sponsorship overrides the freedom of press, since corporates will exert influence or pressurize press media on the selection of news. It is therefore necessary to develop an independent relation between media functioning and corporate investment to avoid such bias of news selection and elite domination in the media industry. Press should cover news that are worth reporting, regardless of one's political stance. Investors should refrain from turning newspaper or free-to-air broadcasting as a commercial or political tool that solely serve their promotional purpose. Investors should not interfere the news content, since such interferences are against the fundamental duty and twisted the role of press to a wrongful direction.
One of the greatest criticisms faced by the government is on the issue of limited choice of free-to-air broadcast. Domination of TVB sustains over years, and government fails to break this monopoly. The Hong Kong Free Television license dispute in 2013 has further added fuel to the fire. Government has been suspected for carrying out censorship with political considerations. This incident has greatly discouraged investment in the broadcasting industry. To restore public's confidence in government's impartiality, especially in respecting press freedom, government should implement policies that help to provide a liberalized and pro-competition regulatory environment to facilitate development of broadcasting services. Government may try to reveal and clarify the regulations, providing a clearer guidance for investors in the industry. Government may also provide more subsidies to them, encouraging them to diversify and innovate competitively. Apart from widening the program choice for the community, promoting fair competition in the industry is also crucial in enhancing Hong Kong's position as a regional broadcasting hub. In Hong Kong, most newspapers are biased under strong political parallelism. Consumers, in return, may tend to read newspapers that share the same political view with them only. As a result, their perspective may be prejudiced, leading to formation of loop-sided public opinions and intensify social and political conflicts. Apart from journalists, consumers also have the responsibility to adjust their own attitude and open up themselves to receive news with diversified views. According to the culturalist theory, consumers play an active role in mass media, as their own attitude determines what messages they choose to receive. Thus, to avoid being manipulated by the media, one should embrace news with multiple perspectives and develop independent thinking.